Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to our Sueur City Council meeting dated January 26, 2026. At this time, I'll bring our meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council members, you're getting your packets over the weekend. Hopefully you had time to look it over, reach out with any questions. This time I will entertain a motion to accept tonight's agenda. So thank you, Councilmember Sullivan. Second. Councilmember Schleter seconded. Any other discussion? Comments? Concerns? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to public hearings. Mr. Roby, you want to introduce us to this?
I would. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight we just have one public hearing, which is on Ordinance 618, the first reading of Ordinance 618, which would amend Chapters 52 and 112 of City Code, dealing principally with the water utility, was waived at the January 12th meeting prior to consideration of the second and final reading, which will take place during the regular agenda tonight. A public hearing should be conducted. Staff would ask for a motion to open a public hearing related to Ordinance 618.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to open up the public hearing for Ordinance 618. So thank you, Councilmember Schleter.
Second.
Councilmember Williams, thank you. Seconded. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Open, and I don't believe we have anybody here to visit. So with that said, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. So moved. Thank you, Councilmember Sullivan. Second by Councilmember Schleter. Any other discussion, comments? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? Ayes have it. This takes us into the consent agenda. All items on consent agenda are considered routine, have been made available to City Council at least 2 days in advance of the meeting. These items will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the agenda and considered in normal sequence. Mr. Ruby, do you want to review these for us?
I would. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First on the consent agenda is approval of the City Council minutes from the January 12th of 2026 meeting. Next is approval of disbursements through today. Included in those disbursements is 8 items over $25,000. The first to RAM General Contracting, and application number 2 for the airport hangar project, totaling $160,297.54. Next to Border States Electric Supply, transformers for the North 4th Street Electric Distribution Project, totaling $107,676.10. Next to B&B Transformer, a rebuild of an electric transformer, totaling $50,350. Next to Trihedral Inc. This is our 5-year software licensing agreement for our electric SCADA system, $45,658.72. Next to the Minnesota Department of Revenue, city sales tax for December 2025, $45,290. Next to Advanced Engineering, or AE2S, Water Treatment Plan Design Engineering, as part of our water CIP, $42,736.36. Next to Coleman Bank, their support project oversight on the 2025 Street Utility Improvements Project, $33,376.43. And finally, to Waste Management for the December 2025 refuse and recycling services, $25,436.86. Item C is approval of payment application number 2 for the airport hangar project to RAND Contracting. Item D is approval of resolution R 2026-005, a lawful gambling permit for off-site gambling for the Bulldog Youth Hockey Association for the Mike Tournament, Mike Jamboree coming up in February. And finally, personnel action, the hiring of 1 temporary police officer to assist in filling shifts.
Thank you, Mr. Roby, for reviewing that with us. Does any council member have any questions on the consent agenda?
I do. The temporary police officer, didn't we vote on that a few meetings ago?
Yep, that was a different one. So the temporary police officers work fewer than 67 shifts during the year. And so it's good to have a good group of temporary officers who are, we we consider them less than part-time officers to fill in shifts from time to time. So these are officers who have a home base or home agency elsewhere. This particular officer is a full-time police officer with the Belle Plaine Police Department. And so it's good to have some extra hands on deck. So when we need to fill gaps or PTO or overtime shifts, we can bring in these officers, and actually ends up being a cost savings for the city.
So there isn't the normal costs that go with the full-time employees with the insurance and the
Correct.
guns or whatever we
Correct.
do with them.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept tonight's consent agenda. So, thank you, Councilmember Schleter.
Second.
Councilmember Nelson seconded. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. This takes us up to the public comment, and I don't believe we have anybody here tonight. Unless Mr. King has something he wants to share with us. If not, we'll take that up to the city administrator update. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, for anyone listening at home or in person in the freezer here, if you haven't signed up for Smart Hub yet, please do. You're running out of excuses to not be signed up. Secondly, we still have openings on the Planning Commission, one opening. On the EDA, we have one opening. On the HRA, we have one opening. And on the Charter Commission, we have several openings. If you're anyone who's interested in getting more involved in the community, is advised to reach out to us, and we can explain the application process, which is quite straightforward. I want to thank the LSH School and the Sueur Rotary and everyone who participated in the Giant Reality Challenge a couple weeks ago. I got to visit with the senior class and talk them through how expensive life is, which is very eye-opening for them. The Sueur Chamber, which will going forward be referred to as the Sueur Volunteer Chamber, had a kickoff meeting of sorts last week. I guess you call it the kickoff. Initial meeting. So this is the re-envisioning of the Chamber of Commerce into the Sueur Volunteer Chamber. I'm really excited to see where that goes. The Sueur Heritage Trail. This is a project that I've been involved with. The Lions Club, the Rotary Club, the Non-Nature Center, and a number of other community volunteers to establish a walking historical trail of the downtown district. We started talking about this probably 3 years ago now, maybe longer. But we have I want to say a final meeting this week to review the signage, or to take a look at those, and we expect to get those installed this spring, summer. Our next meeting will be Monday, February 9th. And then without further ado, I'd like to invite Chief Sueur up to the podium. And she's got a couple of updates that she'd like to share with the council. And she can answer questions too.
Hopefully I have the answers. Good evening. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members. I just wanted to do a quick update of what our department has been doing with everything that is going on in regards to federal law enforcement. I went to the high school last week, and I was able to meet up with middle schoolers and high schoolers, whoever wanted to stay and ask questions. I had about a couple dozen kids that stayed and asked questions about what's going on, how to react to it, and just basic information. They had really good questions, basic information about what the difference between state and federal law enforcement. So we talked about that. I've also been involved or in touch with our religious leaders here in the city that have the Spanish or the Hispanic congregations, and we're keeping in touch. So whenever they need anything, also I want to make sure that if anything happens in town, that they involve us in it, so we know if somebody's truly missing or if this is something that happened with federal law enforcement. I just want to make sure that nothing happens and we let it go because people are assuming that it's one thing or another. I have been in touch with a couple of federal law enforcement officers when it comes to Homeland Security. they are just doing business checks and making sure that people are, have whatever forms they need. And with them, they're just gonna let me know when they're in town, which it doesn't seem like it'll be anytime soon. And I've been trying to just be in touch with Border Patrol, which are the ones, and ERO, which are the ones that pick up warrants, or in that one will be a little bit harder, but with the communications that I've had, I'm hoping that they'll also let me know if they're in town, just mostly so we are aware of it. And if the community's calling us, we can be there for them. That's really all I have.
Thank you, Chief. I want to thank you for your service and your entire department. They've done an outstanding job of communication with the community and developing trust with our community and with our youth. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. And we did get several calls. I do get calls throughout the week, at least once weekly, from the community, the minority community, and just anybody from the community just asking questions, and whatever I can answer, I will answer. So.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question. Do you know if there are any resources for those that are concerned about what rights they have?
Yes, we do have resources. They're I'm trying to think. We were given some information from the Congress people and how to give that to the community. So we were able to give those out, and I just had to translate some of them. But they know who to contact, what the rights are, and also the reminder too, if they need to carry papers, or if just follow instructions from the federal law enforcement too, so they're not hurt.
Do you have documents that can be provided? The reason I asked, there's been a couple people that I know of in a certain setting that don't know what they should do and are fearful.
Yes.
And if there were some document that could be, give them information.
Yeah, I can certainly do that. You can have them reach out to me, or I can send them to you directly.
Okay.
So we can do that.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Again, Chief Sueur, thank you for your update. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
This takes us on to the regular agenda, and this is going to be starting with item 8A, which is the minor subdivision ordinance 619, planned unit development on Charles Street and Elmwood Avenue. Mr. Robies.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and if I may, I would like to combine the presentation for 8A and 8B into one presentation, because they're two separate actions with two separate motions that staff are requesting or recommending, but they deal with the same development. So the Planning Commission has already reviewed this, and I'll walk through a summary here. The project summary itself. The property in question is located at the corner of Elmwood Avenue and Facade 22 and Charles Street. It's currently a vacant property and just to the east of the Armory, the former community ed building, Seabarth Learning Center. The applicant, Miller Homes, is requesting the approval of a minor subdivision and the planned unit development in order to develop 3 new single-family homes on the site. The applicant is requesting a planned unit development in order to obtain flexibility from lot width standards for one of those 3 lots. It's a little bit hard to read on here, but there are 3 separate parcels. Parcel number 2, which is in the middle, is the one that is requiring the planned unit development for a narrower lot width than meets standards. Square footage wise, all 3 proposed parcels do meet or exceed the minimum lot size requirements. The trick with this parcel is an easement that exists on the far west side of the property. So you'll notice parcel 1 is wider. That's because there is an easement in favor of the Mountain Cemetery Association that comes off of Charles Street and goes along the western side of parcel 1. That easement is still in place. We did have several conversations with the Cemetery Association and Miller Homes about the possibility of extinguishing that easement so that the parcels could be more evenly divided in terms of width. We were not able to come to terms on an extinguishment of that easement, so Mount Cemetery Association will retain an easement over that property. What that means is the home for parcel 1 needed to be on the eastern side of that lot, and parcel 2 needed to be a little bit narrower the typical standards, but from a lot square footage standpoint, it meets the standard. All 3 driveways would be facing Turtle Street or emptying onto Turtle Street. When we look at the subdivision and the PUD, both applications are consistent with the comprehensive plan and the zoning map. The proposed PUD proposes 3 new lots, as I mentioned, all of which exceed the minimum lot sizes per square foot, while only reducing the width of 1 lot by 7.5 feet. And again, that's due to the easement. The proposed subdivision and the PUD appear to meet the review criteria found in the zoning ordinance. The Planning Commission went through those review criteria and found that they meet the zoning ordinance. This parcel has long been considered for single-family development. In fact, the last time Turtle Street was reconstructed, sewer services were installed along Turtle Street, anticipating future residential development. Planning Commission conducted a public hearing at their January 8th meeting to discuss the development, and Planning Commission has recommended to City Council approval of the PUD and a minor subdivision. For PUDs, a planned unit development, they require an ordinance because it's a zoning district overlay on the zoning map. So that's presented as ordinance 619. The minor subdivision, should City Council concur with the Planning Commission's recommendations, we would ask that the City Council move to direct staff to bring back to City Council findings of approval. So we're presenting the minor subdivision tonight. If Council concurs with the Planning Commission's recommendation, we'd ask that you direct us to bring back formal approval so that on the February 9th meeting, we would have the second final reading of ordinance 619, the final approval of the minor subdivision. And there will also be one further action, which would be, there is another easement over the entire property in favor of the city. So in spots around the city, lots more than you would expect, we have blanket easements where the city would have asked property owners, hey, we need space in this property to put any number of utilities. And as we've gone along through the last 10 years or so, we've tried to narrow the scope of those easements wherever possible. So we have a blanket easement that covers most of this property, and we would come back on February 9th with a recommendation to extinguish that easement because the city doesn't need it, the entire blanket easement for that property.
So what would you recommend then? I think any easement or none?
We will have an easement for a, there is another existing easement on the property that the city has. I believe it's a sewer main that's on the western side of the property. Is that correct, Foster?
Yes.
Thank you. So there is an existing easement that would remain. There's a overlay blanket easement over the entire property that we don't have need for.
Thank you. In planning and zoning, we did conduct a public hearing on this, and I would imagine, being there's nobody here, that the people who were at that were satisfied. That's a safe assumption.
I think they were definitely satisfied.
Okay, very good. So that said, we've got 2 motions in front of us. We'll do them one at a time. Unless anybody has any questions before we go into this, with Mr. Ruby, and the staff. First one is to direct staff to bring back the City Council findings of the approval for the minor subdivision. Anybody want to make that?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Schluter.
Second.
Councilmember Sullivan, seconded. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Second, one will be to conduct the waive, or to waive the first reading of ordinance 619 as presented.
I move that we waive the first reading of ordinance 619.
Thank you, Councilmember Schluter.
Second.
Councilmember Nelson, seconded. Any other discussion, Comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 8C, that's resolution R 2026-007, that'd be the 2026 coal generation and small power production tariff. Mr. Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is, in colloquial terms, this is Foster's baby, but this is effectively a housekeeping item. So every year, per state statute, the city's electric utility must file a cogeneration and small power production tariff annually with its governing body. City council is the governing body of the Sueur Municipal Electric Utility. So here we are, bringing this forward to city council. We do this every year, and there are 3 schedules as part of this document. The first is the average retail utility energy rates for the current year. So these are the utility rates that have been adopted by city council, and they're already in place. The second schedule is the wholesale supply rate. So that's the average wholesale supply rate that the city pays for electricity from our wholesale provider, which is Municipal Power Agency. And the third schedule is the actual interconnection process, which includes the model agreement for cogeneration. So this effectively brings forward to the city council the rates and process by which we will allow individuals to generate their own electricity via solar power at home or at their business, and what we would pay them to buy that energy from them. Take any questions? Anybody?
So we do have some of those.
We do,
Pay.
yes.
Are we paying them at the wholesale rate?
We're required by state law to pay them at the retail rate.
But we're not required to buy it, are we?
Yes, we're required to buy it. And they cannot produce more than 40 kilowatts. Their system cannot be established to produce more than 40 kilowatts. So we have, Buster, correct me, we have 1 or 2 who are just below the 40 kilowatt threshold. I think just 1.
I think that's it.
One customer is
Do
just
we
below that.
have any control over that? Can we limit how many of those there are that we can do this?
I don't
We can do
believe
no
so.
retail rates too, except for cogenerations.
Yes. Foster, do you happen to know, I'm putting you on the spot here, how many solar customers do we have right now? Approximately 15 is what
I
I,
think it's like, right, 10 to 15, I can't remember. Numbers.
the majority within the city limits, and then we do have a handful of customers outside the city limits within our utility or electric utility territory who have solar installations.
Those outside the city limits are more agricultural.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
1 or 2, yes, and then a couple of residential outside of town.
Anybody else have any other questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain any motions to adopt resolution R 2026-007 as presented. So, thank you, Councilmember Sullivan.
Second.
Councilmember Williams, seconded. Any other discussion? Comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. This takes us on to agenda item 8D. That would be the 2025 pay equity report. Mr. Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Minnesota Rules, Chapter 3920 covers the Pay Equity Act. The Pay Equity Act ensures equitable compensation between position classes at an employer that are dominated by men and those dominated by women at the employer. Every 3 years, the state requires governmental jurisdictions to complete a pay equity report, and the city council must approve the submission of the report prior to the actual submission. The city's 2025 results suggest some concern with the pay equity compliance. Staff will work with the Minnesota Department of Management and Budget, who oversees pay equity, to determine what the final results are and any remediation that's necessary, if any. What we see is this is one of the reasons why we want to do and why we asked City Council for approval to do a compensation classification study in 2026, which we'll be undertaking here. We'll kick off this spring, just to ensure that for our positions that are dominated by women, if those positions are scored according to their level of responsibility, similarly to positions that are dominated by men, that they are not statistically paid less. So there's a big statistical analysis that the state runs behind the scenes after we put in our data. And we believe that there are some market conditions that are primarily driving these numbers, and that's why we need to visit with the state to make sure that they're understanding and accepting of the market conditions that are leading to this data. We're not completely out of compliance, but when we submit it, the state will reach out and they will want to have a conversation with us and understand where our numbers are and why our numbers are reflected in the report the way that they are. But we won't know until we hear from the state what the final results are and what their recommendations are, if any.
Thank you. Much like every year we do financial audits, this is somewhat of a human resource audit, wouldn't that be a good comparison?
That's correct. Yes.
It's done every 3 years. So tonight we're just gonna vote on this and just allow the staff to move ahead with this audit and send in their findings.
So the state then recommends they don't have the authority to make us do anything.
Well, the state could make us do something, but what we anticipate is that the state will provide guidance and recommendations on what they think. If they think that there is something inherently wrong about our pay scale, some of the things that we will share is there are certain market influences with certain job positions that are driving certain wage classes to have higher wages than similarly scored wage classes. We will also remind them that we are doing a compensation classification study of all of our job positions in 2026. And part of that study will look at all of our pay scales from a pay equity standpoint.
And
So-
you do this every year.
Every 3 years. We don't do a compensation and classification study every 3 years, but the pay equity analysis is done by the state every 3 years.
Thank you. Anything else? That said, I will entertain a motion to approve the 2025 pay equity report as presented. So moved. Thank you, Councilmember Sullivan. Councilmember Williams seconded. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. This takes us on to agenda item 8A, the airfield lighting replacement, work order number 4. Mr. Roby?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good night, Chief.
Thank you.
Hope you find someplace warmer.
I will.
The Sueur Municipal Airport 12Y capital plan includes an FAA and MnDOT grant-funded replacement of lighting and the electrical lighting infrastructure. In airport terms, the PAPIs, rails, and MURLs, or the precision approach path indicator lights, the runway and identifier lights, and the medium intensity runway lights have been due for replacement for some time. And as with most projects associated with the FAA capital plan, these things take some time. We have to get them approved by the FAA before we design them. We need to get them on the capital list so we know the FAA will fund them. And we're at the point now where they can be funded. The airport engineer, SEH, has prepared work order number 4, which is their proposal to do the final design, bidding, project management of the project itself, which is estimated to be kick off here in fall of 2026. The city's share of the cost for this project was included in the approved capital budget for 2026. This is, like most FAA and MnDOT grants, reimbursable. So when we go on for for bids and start issuing payments on the project. Staff will take those invoices, turn them around to the FAA and NDOT, and we'll get a reimbursement.
What was the total for that project?
I believe the city's share was a little over $13,000. City share.
And do they use the runway at night?
Yes, they do. Yes, and we're required to have it well lit as well.
Fog and everything else.
Yes.
I just didn't know we used it actually at night.
There are pilots who use it all night.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I will entertain a motion to adopt work order number 4 with the SEH as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Schleter. Councilmember Nelson seconded. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to ordinance 618, second and final reading, Mr. Ruby.
This is related to the public hearing from earlier tonight. City Code chapters 52 and 112 address water utility related ordinances. No one in this room is more excited to see this come to fruition than Mr. Transberg in the back, who has been hard at work with the city attorney for quite some time on the amendments to these chapters. And I want to thank Foster for his diligence getting us to this point, bringing this code up to date. And I'm looking forward to presenting to City Council the wastewater code that will be updated next. Legal counsel and city staff have been drafting amendments to the code to bring local laws regarding water system integrity and safety in line with standards and best practices. Public hearing was held tonight. First reading was summarily waived at the January 12th, 2026 meeting, and staff would request that City Council move to conduct or waive the second and final reading of ordinance 618.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Ruby regarding this? If not, as always, I will ask for a motion to conduct or waive the second and final reading of ordinance 618 as presented. If you want it read to you, you're going to read it. So
I'll make a motion to waive the second reading.
thank you, Councilmember Sullivan. Second by Councilmember Schleter. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to agenda item AG, this resolution R 2026-006, summary publication ordinance 618. Mr. Ruby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With all due respect to the Anderson Independent, I'd rather save the money. And so we would recommend that the City Council adopt resolution R 2026-006, allowing us to publish a summary of the multi-page ordinance 618.
Thank you.
So moved.
I have a motion already. Councilmember Sullivan. Anybody want to second that motion on resolution R 2026-006? Councilmember Schleter, seconded. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. So we're going to reports and items of appreciation. Council members, this is your opportunity to share what's going on in your community, what's going on in your commissions. And as always, I'm not sorry, Mr. Huntington, he's not here tonight. He's under the weather. We hope he's feeling better. Councilmember Nelson.
Well, I wanted to bring up EDA, the budgeting part of EDA, that if there's no connection with the city, they're not answering to the city or, Let me start over. So my question or concern is about the EDA, that the city staff are performing work for them at the direction of their admin, whatever your title is for them. And the city is no longer, if at one point we thought they were maybe being reimbursed or cost sharing or something, and that be looked at and corrected. It needs to, they need to be paying their way, basically.
Thank you. We appreciate your comments. We appreciate your work on that committee. So thank you very much. Moving on to Councilmember Schleter.
I attended the Region 9 full board meeting on the 14th, the initial new chamber meeting this past Thursday. the EDA meeting just prior to this meeting, and coming up, I have a Sueur County officials meeting on Wednesday in Lee Center. Locally, 2 of our restaurants have locked their doors. The federal invasion of Minnesota continues. If you have not yet reached out to your elected state and federal representatives and senators to express your concerns, I strongly suggest you do so.
Thank you, Councilmember Schrader. Moving on to Councilmember Smith.
I'm gonna say it, stay warm.
Thank you. Councilmember Sullivan.
That EDA meeting tonight, address report.
Thank you. Councilmember Williams.
Have a hospital board meeting tomorrow, and with everything that's been going on, the latest incident greatly disturbed me as being a nurse myself. I could see if that incident happened in our community, that would be me. So all I ask is everybody be kind to each other and to watch out for your neighbors and to take care. Terrible time we're going through, and hopefully we will have leadership that will see the right that needs to be done. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councilmember Williams. I echo your sentiment. My message to everybody is stay warm, keep the peace, and stay safe. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?